The engine was still ticking hot when the kid, Bryce Dalton III, strutted up and blocked our driveway, slamming his diamond-encrusted fist on the hood of my wife's cherry red Mustang convertible. "This car's mine now," he sneered, like he was auditioning for a mob flick. "The HOA says you owe the neighborhood a favor. Consider this your payment." My wife, Sarah, didn't even flinch. She sized him up, cool as a winter morning, and said, "Kid, you ever driven anything that bites harder than your daddy's golf cart?" I knew right then we were in for a wild ride. What Bryce didn't know was that Sarah wasn't just some suburban gearhead. She tested 200 miles per hour NASCAR prototypes for a Lee VYing. And this Mustang wasn't just a pretty ride-ite, it was a street-legal monster with a race car's heart. This entitled teen had just picked a fight with the wrong woman. We'd moved into this HOA-controlled suburb 2 years ago, chasing a quiet life. Sarah and I both had high-octane jobs as a structural engineer. Her as a performance driver, and we wanted a place to unwind. Instead, we got a neighborhood run by homeowners who treated rules like a blood sport. We kept our heads down, paid the dues, trimmed the hedges, and played nice. Then Bryce rolled in, the self-crowned king of the cul-de-sac. His parents had just bought the biggest house on the block, and Bryce acted like the deed came with a scepter. He cruised around in a matte black Porsche that cost more than my first apartment, treating the streets like his personal catwalk. Word was his mom, the HOA president, had used community funds to repaint the entrance sign because Bryce thought the old one clashed with his VYB. I wouldn't put it past her. It all kicked off at the monthly car meet in the community lot, a low-key gathering for gearheads to show off their rides. Sarah pulled up in her '69 Mustang, waxed to a mirror shine, its V8 rumbling like distant thunder. Heads turned. A few neighbors clapped. Bryce, in his designer shades, looked at her like she'd just landed a UFO. He swaggered over and declared, "Nice car. I want it. Name your price." Sarah's smile was all steel. "She's not for sale." He scoffed. "Everything's for sale. The HOA owes me for a scratch on my Porsche from last month's event. This'll square it." We thought he was joking. Then came the HOA meeting. Bryce's mom, Margaret, brought it up under community obligations, suggesting Sarah donate the Mustang for shared use to make up for Bryce's so-called damage. The room went dead quiet. Sarah, stone-faced, said, "When your kid learns what a clutch is, he can try it on a simulator." That should have shut it down. But Bryce wasn't used to hearing no. The next morning, he was outside our house with 2 buddies, phones out, filming like they were making a blockbuster. Sarah's Mustang, he announced to his TikTok followers, about to be mine. He slapped a sticky note on the windshield that read, "Reserved for Bryce." I ripped it off and tossed it. He posted about that too, calling us entitled fossils. I'm 39. Things got uglier. Margaret sent a formal letter demanding we address an ownership dispute at the next HOA meeting. Sarah framed it and hung it in the garage. She also upgraded the Mustang's alarm with motion sensors and a GPS tracker. When I asked why, she winked. Because stupid moves fast, and I move faster. What Bryce didn't know was who Sarah really was. By day, she was a vehicle performance engineer, but her real work happened on private tracks, pushing NASCAR prototypes to their limits. The Mustang was her therapy, a beast with a custom clutch that could break bones and a fuel mix you wouldn't find at a gas station. Then came a driveway showdown. We were headed to brunch when Bryce's Porsche swerved in front of us, boxing us in. He jumped out, GoPro strapped to his chest, shades too big for his face. Hand over the keys. Last chance. Sarah killed the engine and stared at him like he was a bug she hadn't decided to squash. "You ever raced anything without a valet mode?" she asked. He blinked. "You won't make it to second gear." She pulled around him so smoothly he didn't notice until she was halfway down the street. That clip went viral, not for his reasons. The internet dubbed him Convertible Bryce. Memes exploded. One photoshopped him holding Sarah's keys like a baby rattle. Bryce didn't back off. He doubled down. Our mailbox was stuffed with flyers showing him posing with Sarah's Mustang, captioned "Community Cruiser," restoring this classic to public use, sponsored by the Dalton family. The kicker? A watermark. Approved HOA campaign. He'd used HOA funds to push this stunt. At the next meeting, Sarah slapped the flyer on the table. Whose bright idea was this hostile takeover of my property? Margaret brushed it off. It's just engagement, Sarah. The car isn't registered in our residential inventory, so it's open to interpretation. Sarah's voice was ice. The only thing this car shares is rubber with the road. Bryce kept the pressure on, posting Instagram polls like, should I paint the Mustang black or keep it red? Sarah messaged him once, touch my car, and it's the last leather seat you'll sit in. He reposted it with fossil fury and laughing emojis. Then he crossed the line. Past midnight, my phone pinged with a sensor alert. The driveway camera caught 3 figures creeping toward the Mustang, Bryce in the lead, holding a phone app, his buddies with tools. Sarah didn't blink. She pulled up the car's remote system. The alarm didn't just while it roared. A custom V8 growl that shook windows. A smoke flare shot from the exhaust. The boys screamed, tripping over our roses as they fled. Sarah tucked back into bed. Lucky I didn't hit ignition override. Would have rolled the axle and clipped his sneakers. We sent the footage to the HOA with a complaint. Their response? A citation claiming Sarah's car had unregistered horsepower modifications and could be towed. It was nonsense, written by someone who'd Googled car terms and called it a day. Sarah read it, then said, they're trying to steal with paperwork what they couldn't with tantrums. She made a call to her NASCAR crew chief. Same car, tuned and ready. Bring the transport team. 2 days later, a semi rolled into the neighborhood, NASCAR livery blazing. Residents gathered like it was a county fair. 3 Mustangs rolled out Sarah's and 2 track-ready prototypes. A pit crew in full gear set up in our driveway. Bryce stood slack-jawed at the corner. Sarah, in her fire suit, addressed the crowd. Since the HOA questions my car's safety, I brought experts. And since they question my skills, I brought the rule makers. She handed Margaret packet on HOA overreach laws. The board was speechless. That night, their group chat leaked. Members were Lee VYD, threatening to quit over Bryce's mess. Media calls started pouring in after a colleague tweeted about the HOA versus NASCAR driver drama. Bryce didn't quit. He sent a cease and desist letter citing fake violations like excessive horsepower. Sarah countered with emissions certifications and street legal paperwork, warning of legal action if the harassment continued. Then Bryce went nuclear. He fraudulently registered Sarah for a one-on-one race at a local track, listing her Mustang's VIN. His promo VYDO was a Hollywood-level montage of drone shots and slow-mo clips, ending with a digital Mustang painted black with Bryce on the side. Sarah laughed. He thinks he'll steal it in public. He's not entitled to MOVY EVY lane. She accepted the challenge, but with a catch. If Bryce lost, he'd wash every car in the neighborhood for a month, on camera, in an outfit of her choice. He agreed, blind to the trap. The neighborhood buzzed. Team Sarah shirts popped up. Automotive YouTubers covered the story, one calling it Rich Kid versus Real Racer. He's gonna cry. Bryce rented a Camaro and posted daily countdown VY Deos in a gold-stitched tracksuit. Sarah posted once a photo of her Mustang's dashboard, captioned, "Let's ride." Race day was electric. The track was packed with HOA residents, food trucks, and media. Bryce posed by his Camaro, fake sponsor banners flapping. Sarah arrived late, her Mustang's growl silencing the crowd. She wore a black racing suit, braid tight, and handed Bryce one line. "You lose, you scrub." He smirked, but his voice shook. The rules were simple. 1 warm-up lap, 3 race laps. Sarah took pole position. Bryce Googled what that meant. Engines roared. Sarah's Mustang launched like a missile, hugging curves with surgical precision. Bryce's Camaro surged briefly but faltered at the first turn. She passed him before he could blink. By lap 3, she was 10 car lengths ahead. The crowd roared as she crossed the finish line, Bryce trailing by 7 seconds. He stumbled out, red-faced, while his crew stood frozen. Sarah didn't gloat. "Guts aren't gears," she said. "Someone get him a sponge." Bryce's punishment washing cars in a neon Mustang maintenance vest drew more VYUers than the race. The internet ate it up with slow-mo edits and sad VY Olin dubs. The HOA imploded. Residents packed the next meeting, demanding Margaret's ouster. Sarah presented a timeline of harassment, backed by footage. Margaret was voted out, and a new rule, the convertible clause, ensured no property could be targeted without due process. Sarah became a local legend. Neighbors offered parking spots for her Mustang. Kids begged for career day talks. Bryce changed too. After his car washing stint, he ditched the Porsche for a beat-up sedan and stopped filming everything. One day, he approached Sarah while she worked on the Mustang. "I was a jerk," he said. "I get it now." She nodded. "Good. What's next?" He returned with a toolkit, asking to learn. She let him help, teaching him brake pads and oil changes. A motorsports magazine ran a feature, The Mustang Showdown, with Sarah leaning against her car, grease on her arms, grinning. The HOA hung it in the clubhouse beside a plaque. "Entitlement has no parking space here." Sarah had bigger plans. She had a weedy lot behind our house. "I want a garage," she said. "A place for kids to learn engines. No drama, just tools." Neighbors donated. A hardware store pitched in. Even a new HOA president, Tom, brought paint. The Mustang stayed the heart of it all, a symbol of grit and grace. One evening, Bryce walked up with a wrap box. Inside was a torque wrench, engraved, "Earned, not given." Sarah nodded. "You're learning." As the sun set, I asked her, "Will this last?" She looked at the Mustang, the garage plans, the neighborhood finding its pulse. "It'll last," she said. "We built it right." So what do you think? Was Sarah too harsh, or did Bryce deserve every second of that takedown? Should she have given him a chance earlier, or was the public lesson the only way? And what about the HOA? Can they ever be trusted again, or is power always a recipe for abuse? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're Team Sarah, and subscribe for more stories where egos crash and legends rise.